All right, guys, we are live. This is the Difference Makers podcast. Today we have with us Nate Edwardson. If you don't know Nate, this is News with Nate today. No, I'm kidding. But this is Nate. He is a YouTuber. He's a CrossFit personality, and he's been in this space for a few years now. We're gonna deep dive into how he got started and the come up on YouTube and what his background was before we got started, and we'll go from there. But Nate, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Is this like live?
No, no,
Sometimes.
it's not live. No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, give me a link. I'll share it. Come on,
No,
let's
no.
go. Okay.
I definitely would have let you know if it was live.
I mean, I don't care. I'm just curious. Yeah.
So tell me here, how did you get your start with all of this? Like you've got your YouTube account
hmm
and you're full time on YouTube, right?
hmm
Yeah. So how did the ball get rolling? How did you get started in this whole CrossFit space, the whole YouTube space?
So those are like two different stories. Like CrossFit, I found in like 2013, 2014, out of season rugby training kind of thing, and just got into that. Started coaching. How I found YouTube was like completely opposite, not opposite, but completely like separate from CrossFit. Like I had when I first started making YouTube videos, it was off inspiration from a guy named Casey Neistat, who I found his channel in like 2017, watched his daily vlogs, fell in love with it. I was like, wow, this is like a cool outlet. This is feels like, something that I might enjoy doing. So I just started vlogging, and I vlogged every other day for 100 days and then every day for 100 days. And all those videos are on my channel, but they're all private right now. But that was like back in 2017. And that was like, I was literally, I think I had like 20 subscribers. I was getting like 3 to 4 views a video. I was not talking about CrossFit. I was intentionally leaving CrossFit out of my content completely. I don't know why. I was working as a full-time CrossFit coach at the time. I was going to school full time. So I just figured I'd like separate everything. And so I was making these videos and I was just doing it for like fun, I guess. I just
Yeah.
like enjoyed it. Um, no idea what I want to do with it. No idea if I was just doing it because I thought Casey was cool. I liked his videos. I want to try to make something like that. Obviously kind of fell in love with like the process and like making videos and realized I enjoyed doing that. So I started kind of seeking out opportunities to like make content, and obviously it kind of started to make sense to do a little bit with some sort of CrossFit stuff. I wasn't vlogging or anything doing CrossFit stuff, but I was like, I would make like an edit of like a workout or something like that. And I got approached by Paul Tremblay from CrossFit NCR. He was out doing a seminar here, and I don't know how he like knew. Maybe we just like talked about it or whatever. But they were looking for a part-time coach and someone to like do like their social media, like content, whatever for them. And I was like just starting. I didn't own a camera at the time. Like I was just using my iPhone, whatever. But I was like, yeah, this is sweet. Like I'd love to piece those two things together. So we packed up, moved to Ottawa. I worked for them for I think just about a year, and I started off just doing like content for the gym. So I would do like photos, videos, edits, montages, whatever for the gym.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2019, we went to WODProof because Paul was competing on a team, and I did like a behind the scenes series for their YouTube channel, which I had started, and that was really like the like spark, I think,
Okay.
because I had like realized I had this passion in creating content, and I had started to do it a little bit in CrossFit, but like I didn't really love just making content for a gym, but like documenting like the sports side of things and like just like combining that with like some vlog style content, like that was really the first time I was like, ooh, this is fun. And I got super lucky because that same weekend was the like 2 days after Heber and Marston had started the Buttery Bros. Like they had literally just started, they released the acid bath video. I DM'd Heber and I was like, hey, I'm going to be at Wodapalooza. If you need any help, let me know. And to my surprise, he DM'd me back and he's like, yeah, let's meet up. So I just met them at Wodapalooza. He handed me a camera in the athlete spectator area and said, film us doing the gauntlet. And I was like, okay. Like I just literally run from like filming with Paul and them. And I had no idea what was going on. He handed me this camera I'd never used before. I didn't know where the record button was. And we go out onto the floor, and I went up to the stands and I asked like 50 people sitting in the stands. I was like, does anyone know how to hit record on this? Like, I didn't want to tell them I didn't know how to hit record on this fancy camera because like I was pretending I was this videographer. And anyway, so someone helped me find the record button. I filmed that for them. And then that kind of snowballed. And after, one or two more times of just like volunteering and meeting up and like offering to help them whenever, they ended up starting to pay me and like fly me out to places to film with them. I did that until about the halfway mark of 2019. Then I got connected with Rory and Rory McKernan. He wanted to start a YouTube channel, so I went to Iceland with him and Paris and the games and recorded a bunch of like series content. And kind of at that point, it had been like 8 or 9 months of me obviously like creating content, making a bunch of connections, like trying a bunch of different things in the space. And I kind of just hit a point where I was like, all right, like this is cool. I've learned how to make videos and like I understand that there's a market in CrossFit for this type of content. But it kind of brought me back to the beginning, which is like this isn't fun I don't want to be a videographer. Like I became a videographer to learn how to make videos. But as soon as I felt like I knew how to make videos well, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to be a videographer for someone else. I don't like someone else telling me how to do a project, when it's done, what needs changing. Like I just want to make what I want to make. And so I was like, that just means I'm gonna have to do this for myself. So I stopped working with you or stopped working with Rory, and I was like, I'm gonna start up my YouTube channel again. And I had like at that point, I think I had like 90 subscribers, and I never made a cent off YouTube. And I was like, let's go. I had the idea for the Day in the Life series. I'm like, let's make this happen. And that's kind of how it started.
So many things to cover in all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've given that like spiel a few times. I feel like I've narrowed it down, but I still feel like that was like 5+ minutes of me just rambling. But
no, that was good. So I guess the first thing I think I noticed you in 2019. That was when I first was like, oh, this guy's doing something. Because I was at WODProof that year actually as well. But you know, following Paul and like knowing Paul from just like Canadian CrossFit stuff.
Yep.
I noticed it and I was like, oh, you got some good stuff coming out now. Like I appreciated that. And it was good to see because that was before everything really picked up content wise in the CrossFit space where like everybody started using YouTube and everybody started having a channel. And so that was one of the first things that I noticed. But what you said about approaching Heber Marsden and just kind of shooting your shot there, that goes a long way. And I think now, even with the number of content creators in the space, like that's such a huge and powerful thing right now. It's just reaching out when you know you're I mean, fake it till you make it. But when you have that ability,
dude, I had literally been not using an iPhone to shoot for like 5 weeks when I messaged Heber, like legitimately. I had and I messaged him saying I was a videographer coming to WODProof. Can't call yourself a videographer when you've used a real camera for 5 weeks. Like I was still editing an iMovie. I had no business helping the two best filmmakers in CrossFit.
Yeah.
No way.
They took you up on it.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, you got to travel all over the world with those guys, it seems like. So,
yeah, 2019 was a wild year, man.
That was before, that was like the year, right? That was the year of the sanctionals. Or, yeah, there was sanctionals.
It was the first year. It was the first year of sanctionals for sure. It was like, it was a really serendipitous time for sure. And I think that's really sunk into me now that I'm like a year or two removed from it because like there were so many stars that aligned. Like if CrossFit hadn't fired Heber and Marsden and got rid of their media, like CrossFit before 2019 was like media was done by HQ. Nobody cared about anything else. Like even if you look at like Craig's channel, like he had a big channel, but like it really blew up in 2019 because the CrossFit community was way more accepting and interested in, and athletes were more willing to participate in out of like even his channel. Like he started getting like big athletes to participate with his content in 2019. Then it was because no longer was there HQ making content. So like the fact that that was the time I was kind of able to like weasel my way in to the like that side of things, it was like perfect timing for sure.
Yeah. And then with Rory's channel, were you kind of right from the beginning with him?
Yeah, like 0 subscriber, started the channel, made his first video. I think I made his like basically every video on his channel I made up until like the end of 2019. And I think he kind of stopped it. We stopped working together because I wanted to do my own thing. And he was also like, he wasn't into the YouTube thing. I think he had just gotten his job at Mayhem then.
So that, I mean, that kind of sparked a lot of change for him too, because he was also one of those people that was let go by CrossFit. In that same space. So kind of as funny as all of that was with CrossFit blowing up their media team, oddly, it's helped the sport and it's helped the content creators in the sport more than anything else.
Big time. Dude, if that door didn't open, like Buttery Bros wouldn't really have been a thing because they would still be working for HQ. I don't know if like I'm sure Craig I don't want whatever, but like he had so many opportunities. I'm sure he would say the same thing. So many opportunities to get in, even like behind the scenes stuff. Like there's no way a YouTuber would have got access to behind the scenes at a regional event. But
No.
now that they opened up and it was a semifinal and it was these individual people running, it was like they were letting people in. Like 2019 was a free for all, man. Like the games in 2019, that was the
Yeah.
first time I ever had a media pass. Like I don't know if you were there for that one, but like it was free for all. You could do whatever you wanted. Like it was wild.
Yeah. No, I wasn't there in 19. My first media coverage was this past year in
This past year.
2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did some stuff for the phase 1 in 2020.
Okay.
So that was
Like the
when they're in
online
the
phase one. Got it.
online
Got it.
phase 1. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but
Hmm.
yeah. So that was my first in person. So that was, I mean, I just missed that initial wave of those things, but
Hmm.
it's all good.
Hmm.
But you guys, now with your channel starting up,
Hmm.
you were able to get some partnerships from the beginning to do some of those day in the life series, right?
Yeah, dude, it was a wild experience, man. I've shared this story like a couple times, and every time like nobody believes me. But I literally I was making pretty good money working like contract with Heber Marston, Rory, all them. And when I stopped working with them to start the series, like I didn't that was it. Like I had no job, I had no whatever, like and I was like dead set against ever doing another videography gig. Like I was gonna go work at McDonald's before I was gonna be a videographer again. And so I was just like, this has gotta work. Like this YouTube channel thing, like I'm just gonna try this and like we'll try to make it happen. And like I remember, so I got a check from Rory for like a decent amount after the Iceland deal. And that was basically it. That was like the last time I knew where any money was ever going to come from. And so that was the same time we were moving to Vancouver as well. So we
Yep.
literally, I got back from the Iceland thing, I think a month later, went to the games, got back from that. And then a couple weeks later, we left for Vancouver. So we were like driving on our way to Vancouver. I had booked a trip to go see Allison Scuds to shoot the first episode, and then I had booked another trip to go see Brent and Kelowna, Pat and Nanaimo, and I had booked flights to go to New York and Miami. So I had probably spent like 75% of that last check as we were like driving out to Vancouver. And it was like basically that whole trip, I was just like emailing brands and just being like, hey, I'm doing these episodes. Like any brand that was associated with the athlete I was doing,
Yeah.
I was just reaching out to him. I was like, hey, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. And like the amount of phone calls I had where I was like, yeah, so like I'm doing this and like I need like $2,000. And they're like, okay, like where is this going? And I'm like, on my YouTube channel. And they're like, what YouTube channel? And I'm like, well, I don't really have one yet. And they're like, so why am I going to give you this money? So I was kind of able to use like my knowledge from like being a videographer to like negotiate deals that were like, I can't promise you exposure. I think these videos are going to do well, and I hope you get exposure from it. But I'll also deliver you 20 fully edited photos of the athlete with your product. I'll deliver you 3 short montages of the athlete with your product for your socials. And that's kind of what they paid for at the beginning. Was I kind of more sold them like social assets from the content I was already going to be creating. And that's the money I used essentially to fund the like first like 3-4 months of the channel before COVID when I was doing all the day in the life videos. So after like a few, they started to like be a bit more flexible with like paying for exposure because they were getting like a lot of views.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, like I literally had 80 subscribers. Like, can you imagine trying to ask a company for $2,000 for a video that's going to go on a channel with 80 subscribers? Like, so
Did anything from your time with the Buttery Bros or Rory help with some of those deals? Where you're like, hey, this is what I did for these guys. Like, this is the type of content.
oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Like, I don't really I didn't make any brand connections really working with them because I was just like their camera guy. So like I was never on
Yeah.
that side of it. So I couldn't really pull from the relationship too much other than just being like, yeah, like I could show a video I made for Rory and just be like, hey, this is like the type of content or the quality of content, whatever you want to call it, that I'm gonna be creating.
Yeah.
So like here's something to go off of, I guess. Um But no, I think too, like I had done just like for fun, like anytime I would go on a trip with them, like the Josie, you know who I'm talking about. Josie, I don't know how to say his last name. Craig's got
Ah,
Life of
yeah,
Josie on
yeah,
Instagram. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
I know who you're
Like
talking about. Yeah,
he does a great job of this. Like if he's working for like Craig or someone like that, he'll always make his own edits that go on his Instagram and he'll post photos. Like he has his own like social, right? Because of
yeah,
that, even though he's still working for Craig. So it's like when I was working for Rory and Hero Marston and I was at events, I would always do what I needed to do for them. But then I would also take whatever footage I could and like cut up fun little edits for my own Instagram and take pictures or whatever. And so those I was able to kind of be like, hey, look, here's a video I already have of Allison from the French Throwdown. This cool little edit. I'll do another version of this of her with your product when I go to do the day in the life video and give you that and you pay me for that. So like
yeah.
for sure, if I didn't have the like opportunities to travel with them and meet the athletes and do all that, I would have had way less to pull from to be able to like convince them to give me money for sure.
No, that's perfect then. I mean, you're leveraging the situation. That's great to
Hmm.
see.
Totally.
Awesome. So, have you, you've created some long-term partnerships based off of some of those initial um, day in the life series.
Hmm.
How is it that you've really worked to create those partnerships and kind of let them grow? Like, what do you actively do with them to kind of aid in that?
Yeah, brand stuff has definitely evolved for me. Like when I first started working with brands, like we just talked about, it was very much like I'm making these videos. I'll give you things from these videos that are valuable to you, like clips and photos and whatever. Um, but once I started to gain a bit more of a following, I was able to obviously start selling more of the exposure and like just being in the videos. And so transitioning out of, because I really like I did that to supplement the cost of like being able to do that series, but I hated doing social deliverables for brands. I hated clipping up my videos to make little Instagram edits for brands. Like I didn't want to have anything to do with that. I was just doing it because I had to. So
Yeah,
kind of the moment, I was able to negotiate like my first contract with a brand that was purely just based off me and like being involved with my brand and my content, that was the end of me doing any kind of deliverables for brands. Like now it's fully like, and it's even evolved a lot recently. Like you said, like obviously WODProof has
yep,
been, I've been with them for 6 to 8 months now. I've been with DECA for just about a year now, and Transparent Labs I just signed with, but I mean they've been awesome. I've been with them for like 3, 4 months now, and because of like kind of the initial workings with how I moved from deliverable type things to like integration into my brand and stuff, I've been able to accept really only the kind of brand deals that I want, which are like athlete-esque brand deals. And what I mean
yeah,
by that is like I'm not doing a month-long thing. I'm not doing a 3-month-long thing. Like I sign only 12 to 24 month deals. It's like only based off exposure on my channel. Like I'm not doing like, oh yeah, I'll give you like I'll cut this up for you, or I'll take these pictures, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. Like there are certain little things that are woven into some contracts. Like there's like appearance stuff and like things like that. But like outside of 98% of it, it's just like mention you in the videos, integrate you into the content. Like, and I think too it works because it's like my audience, especially the audience that's like really there and really invested and watches the vlogs and the training stuff and whatever,
mhm,
like they feel like they know me, right? And so like
yeah,
integrating something into my channel, into my content, into my life, it takes time. And it takes time for my audience to like trust that this is actually something that I like, I use, I agree with, whatever. And then once we get there, it kind of becomes just like a staple part of the channel, right? Like people, think of me and watch my content, and they just think Deca, it just goes hand in hand. Like DecaCom is just, it's in every single one of my episodes where I'm training. I talk about it all the time. So it just like it makes so much more sense for me, and I think for the brand to work off longer term relationships. Um, and again, I've just been lucky to get to a point where it's like I'm able to kind of pick and choose. Like I say no to 98% of brands that reach out and want to do stuff, because most of the time it's not what I would want to do. So
hey, having that power is key. But
mhm.
that's interesting to hear your take on brands and working with brands. Like, it is good to create those long-term relationships and
Yep.
having the ability to do that and not being, going from video to video and changing your sponsored ad every single time. It
Yeah.
goes a long way.
What's up, guys? Justin here. I'm really sorry to interrupt the show, but we're here to talk about something special. This is to talk about Bionic. Bionic is a first of its kind AI-based motion tracking mobility test that's designed to show you what your body is really doing. We've designed 7 unique tests that show you your range of motion for different joints throughout your entire body and how they work together. Once you're done the test, you'll be given a body map score, which breaks down your entire body and their different range of motion. From there, the WODProof app will also design a mobility program specifically tailored to your needs and the things you want to improve. I can't wait for you guys to try out the test. Go download the WODProof app today, start your free 7-day trial, and try Bionic today. All right, guys, back to the show.
Well, and I think too, a lot of like YouTubers are scared to do that because they think that like what happens if we agree on a monthly salary right now, and then in 6 months my channel's blown up and it's worth more, you know? But like these are the conversations I have with brands all the time. Is like I always negotiate a brand deal to be a little bit more than what it might be worth right now,
Yeah.
with the understanding that we're signing for 12 months. I'm not going to try to renegotiate with you at any point. Like, even if the channel keeps on this growth trajectory that it's been on, and it's, you know, like since I signed with WODProof, I think my channel has like at least doubled, if not tripled, in terms of like monthly viewership and size and whatever. But I haven't gone back to them and tried to renegotiate our contract because I'm like, good, that's great. Like that's benefit for you. Like you signed me at this level. You took the risk and you trusted me that like I was going to, you know, grow and continue to do what I do and whatever. And this is your reward. You get to keep paying me what you were paying me 8 months ago, even though I'm way bigger now and all new brands that come in pay way more than what you're paying, you know. And like obviously like when the contract's up and starts again, like it's a different story. But like that's, for me, I'm like, I value that because I feel like it's trust on both ends. It's like they trust me at the beginning to, you know, like they're willing to make that investment, but I trust them that like we have this long-term partnership and they're going to be there no matter what. And to me, that's super valuable. Yeah. And plus long-term partnerships are just better because they're not as annoying, man. Like Adam is
better.
amazing. He doesn't message me. He doesn't tell me what to do. He just lets me do my thing. And like, he's a legend. Like transparency is the same. Death is the same. Like, I don't want to work with brands where like every couple days I'm getting like, they're telling me what to do or what I want, whatever. Like, it's just like, they trust me to do my thing. They know what I'm doing. And like, it's great.
Yeah. Have you changed your approach with brands and content as things have changed kind of a little bit away from the day in the life to more news and vlogs?
Totally. Yeah. Like when I was doing the day in life stuff, it was all one-off brand deals. Like it didn't, I couldn't do long-term things because a lot of the time there was conflict with like, obviously the majority of like what they were paying for was like the athlete association, because the day in the life videos were about the athletes. They weren't about me. I was on camera for maybe 5 of the like hour and a half long, 5 minutes of the hour and a half long episode. So like if the brand didn't align with the athlete, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas once the content started to be about me, whether it's me commentating on the CrossFit space, me doing workouts, whatever, I could pick brands that aligned with me and also could work with them on longer term basis because it wasn't just about like what athlete I was with that week kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. How did you spin and how did you decide to spin the News with Nate segment? How did you decide to turn into that?
Dude, it was 100% serendipitous happenstance, like everything in my life. Like it just kind of fell into place. Like there was that big so basically I had started 2020 was like a big year of trying to figure stuff out, right? Because like I had done the day in the life series that had a lot of success, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had to completely reinvent the channel. And like for like 8 months, every time I posted a video, I would lose subscribers because they were like, this isn't the day in the life series. Like, I don't want this, whatever. So I was like reinventing, trying to figure stuff out. Like 2020 was just like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck. And towards the end of the year, I guess I had just started talking about like certain things at the end of my vlogs. Like I would do like a vlog, like a training vlog, whatever. And then towards the end, I would like talk about something like whatever. And like every once in a while, some of those would start kind of like doing well. And I think it was like kind of beginning of 2021, there was like that whole Froning Fraser beef. And I kind of stuck my head in it, which like was maybe not the best decision, but also like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
And I kind of covered that, and that was the first time I had ever just made a video where I like just talked about a topic. Like there was no vlog involved; it was just talking about a topic. Um, and so it was like maybe another like 6 to 8 months in 2021 of like I would make videos where like the first half was a vlog and the second half was me talking about a topic. And then I kind of realized that like, a lot of people who just wanted to see the news were getting pissed that there was all this vlog content. And a lot of people who just wanted to see the vlog content or wanted to see both were kind of like, like it was just weird that kind of both together. So it was like towards the end of last year, I just was like, this is its own thing. Like I think internally I struggled too because I was like, I felt like I had like almost like imposter syndrome to like, why do people care about what I'm saying? Like if I'm not entertaining them at the beginning of the video with like vlog stuff, like they're not going to click just to hear me talk about something. Like that to
Yeah.
me was like the biggest mind-blowing thing ever. Was like accepting that it's like my commentary and my take on things and whatever is content. Like it's interesting, it's engaging, it's entertaining, it's whatever it is to people, and that can actually be something on its own. So it was kind of, yeah, towards the end of last year I just was like, let's cut these and see what happens, and it just went gangbusters. The News with Nate just like took off, and it's just
Yeah.
like turned into its own thing super quickly. So
And then from that, like, how do you decide on what you're going to cover from those stories? Like, obviously there's, there's a few like real hot button stories each week, maybe,
yep.
but how do you
Oh,
decide on
less
what
than
to
that.
cover?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, man. Like, and that's something that I've really changed around this year. So like last year, towards the end of last year, when I started doing the news, it was like, I've always, because I was inspired by Casey and whatever, like daily vlogging has always kind of been in the back of my mind. Like I love making videos. Like I made so many videos when no one was watching them and whatever. Like I just genuinely enjoy it. So it's honestly hard for me to not make a video every day. Like as crazy as that sounds, it's like it's really hard for me to not upload Monday to Friday, no
Yeah.
matter what it is. And so there was a good amount of time last year where I would just like every single morning, I would come to my office, I would sit down, I would read Morning Chalk Up, I would go through Instagram, and if there's a big story, easy day, I would
Yeah.
just talk about it. But if there wasn't, I would go through this like fucking insane like process of just like I would write down, like I had this thing where I'd write down the names of like the top 20 athletes from the past year's games, and I would literally just go through the list every morning, and I would just like say their name and just like start talking about them to myself until I like maybe had an idea, and if I didn't get one I would move on. So like I would be like, Tia Claire Toomey wins the games. Tia Claire Toomey now doing the Olympics. Tia Claire Toomey bobsledding. Will Tia Claire Toomey's bobsledding affect her at the CrossFit Games? Whoa, there's your title. You know, and like I would kind of just like do that until I thought I had something interesting to talk about, and I would make a video. Now, because I wanted to bring back, and with that, I kind of lost a bit of my vlogging format. I wasn't sure how I wanted to make vlogs. I didn't like just making like lifestyle daily vlogs anymore, in the sense of like I didn't like the content that was coming from me just picking up the camera, having no idea what I was going to do, and just filming my day. I don't like forcing content out of my life. So because there was a void of that, I just started making more news videos, but I was making so many news videos that a lot of the time I also wasn't super stoked on like the outcome and like what I was talking about. Um, so yeah, they kind of evolved to like this year now. It's like it's much less of me like forcing anything and much more of just like if there's something that is boom, it's there, it makes sense, I'm actually interested to talk about it, I actually think I have a very interesting perspective to share, then I'll do it. But if not, I won't.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Going back to that, the way that you decided on that, like
Mhm.
that's cool. Like, and that shows like your creativity and your ability to brainstorm, I guess. But I think I would do something like that. I would get started and be like, nah, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not doing
Right.
this.
Right.
Like to be able to run down the names and go, okay, like what's newsworthy, what's a story, and break that down in your mind.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it came from, like I said, like I just love making videos. Like it's not a good day for me if I don't make a video. Like I love making YouTube videos. I want to make a video every single day, and it's just like fun for me. And so that, plus the fact that I've always been just a person that gets like maniacally obsessed over like whatever it is I'm into, like whether it was like a sport in high school or whatever. Like YouTube is like all I think about. It's all I talk about. It's all I want to do. It's all I care about. Like I literally don't do anything else other than make YouTube videos. And like that even goes back to the brand conversations. Like the reasons why I say no to 98% of brands is because I'm like, I just don't want to work anymore on anything else but YouTube. Like I just
Yeah.
want to make the best videos possible. I'll carry as many sponsors as like I feel like won't impact that. And the bigger I go to the channel, the more money I'll make from the channel, the more I can also charge the brands I'm already working with. Like I don't need to say yes to, I could be way more rich if I said yes to every brand opportunity, but I just don't, because I'm like, I don't want it to impact my ability to make YouTube videos. And like every single day, it's just like, it's all I care about. It's all I want to do. It's all whatever. And so that leads to like me just, I feel like doing things that like most people wouldn't do, which is like, if you don't have a video or a topic, I'll just sit there until I come up with one. Like it would literally be like 3-4 hours of me just sitting here, like talking to myself until I would come up with a topic. And I just did that every single day for like 6 months.
Shit. I don't know how you did that, but that's impressive. But then you got it done. You put out content that was worth watching and that was notable.
Mhm.
So that's good. Have you ever, with some of the news that you've done, like, do you get a lot of backlash for some of the things you decide to cover?
It's been infrequent. Like I've had like 1 or 2 instances where there's been like a little bit of something, but most of those ones I look back on and I'm like, those were good learning experiences. Like I just like, I think it's, you're trying to push the envelope a little bit to be
Yeah.
interesting, because it's like, I'm not like, obviously Morning Chalk Up has done stuff where they're like, people get mad for sure, but like they're a newspaper or whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
literally what they do. Like I'm a content creator. It's very different. I'm a YouTuber. Like my whole game is about getting people to click on a video and then be interested in that video and watch it all the way through and want to subscribe and come back for more, And so it's like, obviously I'm always pushing the envelope of like, what's bigger, what's better, what's more interesting, what's this, what's that. But then there also comes a time of like, you have to kind of, make long-term decisions too. Like I'm not going to stick my head like, dude, the amount of times like I have, and I think one of my absolute talents as a YouTuber is I'm really good at coming up with title and thumbnails. I think that's one of the things that's really helped my channel is like, I'm
Yeah.
just naturally, I know how to word things, I think, better than a lot of people to make it interesting. But it's like with great power comes great responsibility type thing. Like I try to be really aware of like relationship management and like just genuinely thinking about like how valuable is like one video that's going to blow up versus like what it might do. And so, I think I'm very positive. I think in my content, like no matter what the title thumbnail is, if you click on it, I hardly ever have a negative outlook or take on something. And I kind of do that on purpose. Like I will, of course, if there's something really in your face and I have like the Castro thing, like my
Yeah.
opinion on that was like I was cool that he was fired. And like there were a lot of people that didn't like that. But that was one that was like so big, I wasn't gonna be disingenuous and hide my whatever. And I make a point to never be disingenuous. Like I'm never like lying when I say that I support something or I like something, but I will intentionally not talk about stuff that I like, that would be like a controversial opinion sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because this is like, there's just no point. Like I'm not out there. I don't want to be a drama thing. Like I don't want my news videos to turn into like a drama thing. You know what I mean? And like I've definitely dipped my toe in that from here and there. But I think from those I've learned that it's just like, it's just not, I don't love it. It's not my thing. It's not, my whole channel isn't based around it. So I don't want that to be something that just like becomes, whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, the better you get at making YouTube videos, the harder it is to not make those like absolute bangers that would go.
Yeah.
Even though,
It's
better
the
long-term
low-hanging
decision.
fruit.
It is and it isn't. Like it is, but it's like I feel like sometimes it's like, again, I know how to package it in a way that will like make it the most low-hanging fruit to like
Yeah.
for the audience to grab. But it's like I'm like, this isn't worth it. Sit this one out, Nate.
I think for people who maybe aren't super entrenched in like the YouTube culture, don't understand how important a good thumbnail and a good title is. I mean, I'm sure
Everything.
people understand how good a good title is, but the thumbnail is almost more important than the title sometimes.
Yeah, people don't understand, man. If you haven't, I would go so far as to say if you haven't clicked upload and your rent that month depended on it, you have no idea how important a title thumbnail is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I don't get people to click on my content, I don't pay rent. Like
Yeah.
it's that black and white, you know. I mean, that's not that dramatic now because I have sponsors and stuff like that, but like for the most part, it's like it really is like my job. It really is my like what gets my paycheck sent to me is being able to entice people to watch a video. So like it's a lot of pressure, man, because like you can make, and I think a lot of creatives have this problem when creatives, and I learned this lesson too, when people like you or people like Josie or people like whatever who are just artists at their craft, whatever, like really, really good at creating high quality content. If you guys were to try to come over to YouTube, it would probably be a big learning curve of like, it doesn't matter how great your like you can put your heart and soul into something, make the best piece of content ever, but if you don't package it properly, nobody's gonna give a fuck. It could be like literally the Sistine Chapel roof is painted in one of your videos, and nobody would give a fuck if you don't title and thumbnail it properly. Because
Yeah.
it's just like people need to be enticed to click on it. There's so many videos on YouTube. There's hundreds of millions of videos getting uploaded every single day on YouTube. In order to stand out, like you have, but and then that's the other side of things is like it's not just enough to obviously get people to click on it. You have to make a good video too. So it's like it's
Yeah.
definitely both sides of it. Like if you just clickbait people and title, which a lot of people do, you title thumbnail on something that isn't the video, and they click on and then they click off right away. YouTube's algorithm is smart, and it realizes that like that person, like so many, it will literally say it in YouTube Studio where it's like you didn't accurately represent your content in the title thumbnail because 57% of people are clicking off in the first 10 seconds. So, and they just don't push your video and your video dies. It doesn't matter how good your title thumbnail is. So it's like, it's funny. It's like a double-edged thing. It's like title thumbnail is super important. It's tough for people to wrap their head around, especially if they're creatives coming into the space, because you try to make the best video possible, but if you don't package it well, it won't succeed. But then it's the other side. Just because you learn how to title and thumbnail really well, if you don't know how to make a really great video, it's also going to do that. So
Yeah.
it's like you really have to be able to blend both of the things together, which is so hard. So hard.
And that's the one of the other things too is like that, you know, there's not really a chronological feed unless you go to your subscribers. Your homepage is just whatever YouTube decides to give to you.
Yep.
You know, sometimes Instagram, and for, you know, Instagram is definitely not chronological anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very much based on that. And so I know exactly what you mean when you say that, but the
Mm-hmm.
way that I put out content on Instagram is so different than how you would have to on, and it's so much more, it's less time consuming to build that content for the most
Sure.
part.
Yep.
But it almost feels like you're rolling the dice sometimes.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time. Every time
Yeah.
I upload, I refresh the YouTube Studio app every 5 minutes, and I know exactly how many views at each 5 minute interval it should be getting to be like what level of video. And YouTube ranks after 30 minutes, YouTube will rank your video 1 to 10. So out of your last 10 uploads, where is it performing right now in relation to your last 10? And 1 to 10. So it's like one out of 10 is the best out of the last 10. 10 out of 10 is the worst. And that, let me tell you, is the worst feeling on planet Earth is when you see that 10 out of 10. And so, yeah, it's like a constant, like, mental, like, just beat down of like trying to like see how it's going or whatever. And like, you can think you have a 1 out of 10 coming down the pipeline, and then it hits and it's like 8 out of 10. And it's just demoralizing sometimes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you ever change a thumbnail or change a title? And does that impact the results or the views?
I've tried that maybe 2 or 3 times. Definitely haven't done it in a long time because it doesn't. I don't think. Like it
Yeah.
does and it doesn't. Like if the way I see it is like if you get to a point where you've hit upload and you're starting to frantically change title and thumbnails, you screwed up like 10 steps back. Like it's dead in the water. Like
Yeah.
there was just because it all has to blend, like I said, right? Like if you have to make it a super enticing title. You have to make a super enticing thumbnail, but then you have to have a video that aligns with that title thumbnail so people stay on that video. If your retention is less than like 40, 50%, YouTube is going to kill the video just as they would if nobody's clicking on it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you can't like, just because you upload a video with a bad title thumbnail and people aren't clicking on it, and then you try to change that, well, what are you going to change it to? You already made the best title thumbnail you thought you possibly could. So now you're going to be going like outside the box a little bit, and you're going to be getting a little fishy with like whatever. And like you might make a more enticing title thumbnail, but it will probably be less in relation to the actual video. So more people will click on it initially, but then they'll see that it's not as related to the actual video. So then they'll click off because they're upset, and then YouTube will still bury it. So it's just like, it's tough, man. If you're at that point, it's more just like you've kind of messed up. Like, just move on to the next one. Like,
Yeah.
you can try and change the title thumbnail and repackage it, but it's probably not going to work out well for you.
It's a double-edged sword right there.
For sure.
Do you find that, like, has being in Canada as opposed to being in the States or being in Europe affected your growth on YouTube, do you think?
I have no idea. I don't really have much of a point of comparison. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, like, I think it's funny when people assume that my audience is Canadian. My audience is more American and UK based than it is Canadian by a long shot. Like, my demo is like 51% American, like 16% UK, and like 9% Canadian. That's the next biggest. And then like Australia is like 8%. So it's like they're basically the same. So like Canada is basically the third or fourth largest part of my demographic. So like it's definitely not, I don't think, and that would be different if I was in the States or if I was in the UK. Like, maybe if I was in the UK, I'm sure Craig has a pretty big demographic of people from the UK, but it might also be the same as me, and like his UK is actually kind of the same as like his second or third biggest one. I think because CrossFit is like so dominant in the States, if you make content about CrossFit, always the majority of your demographic will be in the States. So yeah, I don't really think it's made too much of a difference. Like, as a Canadian, we can travel to the States obviously without visas, so it makes it easy to like go over and shoot content. Like, it's never really that big of a headache. Same with the UK, we can travel there, no visas. So like, whereas like obviously like the UK, I think they have to get visas to travel to Canada and the States, or at least the States. So that would have been a bit of a headache maybe, but yeah, I mean, I don't really have much of a point of comparison, but based off those things, I don't really think it's made much of a difference.
No, that's something I've always wondered about. Like, if the YouTube algorithm pushes it just to everybody who's interested in the subject, or if it's location based.
No, it's everyone who's interested in the subject, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So when you decided to go full-time YouTube and you dove into it, how long were you? I mean, you had to have just committed fully to being like, I'm all in for this.
Yep.
What was like the runway like? Because you didn't have a YouTube channel before you started and decided to go full-time into it.
I didn't have a successful one. I had one, but I had like 80 subscribers. Yeah.
So what is that feeling like? Like, you have a couple months runway and then you just start grinding. Like, what was like the moment you knew, like, I can do this full time, this is gonna work?
I don't know, man. I'm one of those absolute weirdos that just like it's just things like that are just never questions. Like, it's like playing sports as a kid. Like, I just always knew that I was going to make the top team. I was always going to make the varsity team. I've never been cut from a team in my life. Like, it's just like, and I'm not trying to sound like a cocky, arrogant prick, but it's just like, I've just always, like, anything I've ever done, I feel like I've been self-aware enough to know at the beginning whether it was something I could be successful in. And as soon as it's like an intrinsic feeling, you know what I mean? Like, it's like this little, just like tingle inside that's like, oh yeah, okay, this aligns. And like, even if I've had no success at it before, like YouTube, I literally had nothing but signs that I was not going to be successful. Like, I had been making videos for 2 years on my own, never got more than like 10 views a video, 80 subscribers, never made a cent off of it. Like, there was no logistical reason to why I should dive in and be successful as a YouTuber now. Like, why was it going to be different, But I just had this, like, for sure, just like this feeling. Even back then, though, when I was making the videos, I was like, it's just going to be a matter of time. Like, I just, like, it sounded so arrogant, but I just knew it. I was like, I don't care that nobody's watching these right now. I don't care that the channel's not growing right now. I know eventually it's going to click and I'm going to find my stride and it's going to work. And I just like felt like I knew that. So even when I took the year off to like do the video stuff with like the other guys, it was still kind of always in the back of my mind. And I think for me, it was like the moment I just stopped enjoying making videos for other people was when I was like, why do I make videos? I make videos because I like YouTube. Let's go. Like, right away. Let's just go. So, and then, I mean, the reason why I started full time is because it was like, I felt like I had no other option. It's just like, I hate making videos for other people. So I would work at McDonald's before I make videos for other people. I don't want to go work at McDonald's. Working at McDonald's would get in the way of me being able to travel to start this series. So I'm like, I have no option. I'm just gonna start this, and I'm just gonna have to make it work because a job would get in the way, and I don't want to make videos for other people. So I just felt like I had no option.
That's awesome. Because I mean, you hear so many stories about people who already have successful channels before they take it full time.
Yeah,
You know what I
totally.
mean? Like I know people that are working like two jobs, like marketing, whatever, and they've got a ton of subscribers on YouTube. And then it's not until, you know, they hit some sort of milestone years down the line of having his channel before they just dive into it. So it's awesome to see that you can just, you know, you made it work.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just you like again, like just because you have less subscribers, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make less money or get less views. Like you just like I think the thing that separated me at first was like I posted almost every day for the first, and I still basically post every single day, and I've been doing it for like almost 2 years now, you know. And so like it's just like I think I probably get a very similar, maybe not right now, but like I've had months where I've probably had pretty similar monthly viewerships to channels that are way bigger than me because I'm the only one that's posting every single day, basically, you know? So like
Yeah.
in my brain, it's just like I to go back to your last question, like I've never in my life had the ability to like care about something I don't care about. And it's just like bad. Like when I was in school and like literally when I started making YouTube videos, like on my own, whatever, I was a full-time student at like a university, right? And I just literally stopped going to classes so I could make these videos that nobody was watching and that weren't making me any money and weren't like because I just realized I was like, oh, I don't care about this business degree. I want to make videos. And I just like it was like hard stop immediately. I can't do anything else. This is all I want to think about and focus on. That's it. So it's like that was kind of the same thing when I started doing it on my own. Is it's just like I was just obsessed, like completely obsessed. I still am. Like I can't imagine doing anything else, like at all.
Yeah.
And if I did, it would be the most half-assed, like worst. You know what I mean? Like there's just nothing I could do right now other than make YouTube videos and have it go well. So
I mean, does being your own boss, is that one of the biggest motivating factors then?
I don't like being told what to do for sure. And like
Yeah.
I've like self realized that over the years that like I don't know whether it's like some childhood stuff or whatever, but like I've always opposed, um, had opposition to like whatever someone telling me what to do, and like even the few real jobs I've had, which I haven't really had any, it's like anytime someone would tell me I was wrong or like how to do something differently, it just and I didn't agree with them or I didn't think they should be telling me that. Like I hated it. I hated that feeling. I didn't and I just ran away from it. I think that was definitely like I would never have identified myself as like I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to run my own business. I just like subconsciously ran away from ever having like someone tell me what to do. And again, I think that's what led me into making my own YouTube channel versus working for because like Keeper, Marcy, and Rory, they're like the best people ever. Like they were great people to be telling you what to do. And to like anyone who can handle that, it was great. Like they were by no means it wasn't their fault. I just like hated even the nicest people in the world telling me what to do, you know.
That's a great way to put it. I hated the nicest people in the world telling me what to do.
That's how you know you can't have a real job. It's like if you're even if those guys who are literally some of the nicest people in the world are telling you what to do and you still are like
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. I definitely know that feeling. Awesome. Dude, I'm so impressed by what you've been able to do and what you've been able to accomplish in this space. It's been I mean, what, 3 years now? Roughly since Wadapalooza and the
yeah, 2019 WODProof Pro
yeah.
will be 3 years. So yeah,
So
that was the first time I started making videos in CrossFit.
I mean, and that's, you know, you got in at the right time and you just started, you ran with it.
Yeah,
What's
appreciate it.
kind of the next thing for you? What's on the radar for the next coming months? Like we got the Open coming up. Do you have any plans to revisit the Day in the Life series? Like what do you got going on?
Yeah, I talked about it. I made like a video on like I think New Year's or something like that. Just like a quick update video. And I basically like I'm doing the news with Nate isn't going anywhere. Obviously, that's been super successful, and I really do enjoy making those videos. But I'm only going to make ones that I actually think are interesting. I'm not going to do the thing I used to do where I would like just make a video at all costs because like I I really want to make the best videos possible. Like the more I study YouTube, the more I get obsessed with it, whatever. I want to make the best videos possible every single time I hit upload. And I refuse to upload a video that I don't think is like the best I could possibly make. So News with Nate staying, but it's probably gonna be way less frequent, like maybe 2-3 times a week, only if I feel like there's a really, really good thing to talk about. I want to bring back the vlogs, but they've got to be within my value prop. That's one thing I've learned is like I don't want to just make vlogs about whatever. I want them to be about CrossFit. I want them to be interesting, entertaining, to provide some sort of value, whatever. And that's starting this year with the Road to the Open series, which I'm doing right now, which I'm going to release an episode of like as soon as we're done talking. And then day in life for sure, but it's just like when I can afford it. Like those are expensive to make, man. And like I have enough brands now that there are a lot of conflicts. And then also, like I said, I don't enjoy. I feel like the things that those bigger brands would want me to do to fund, like, because those are expensive, right? Like if I'm working with a brand, it's like $5,000 to $10,000 that like I'm asking for in order to make an episode like that. Like in order to get that much money from a brand with a channel of my size, typically they want a lot. And like I'm just not willing to do, not like a lot of work, but they want a lot of say in what goes into the video. And I'm just not willing to do that. Like again, like I said at the beginning, I'm not willing to sacrifice my level of content to have, like, I don't want my videos to be commercials. Oh my goodness, I hate it. Like the super well polished brands integration that's every 10 seconds you see another sponsorship. Like you've seen that on YouTube before, and it's just like, what are we doing here, guys? Like this isn't YouTube. Like, what's going on? So like that's something I really want to run away from. So the Day in Life series is like, it's just like wait until I can afford to do it without having to sell my soul to like a brand to make it happen. And then I do want to travel for sure, but again, it's kind of the same thing. Like it just has to make sense financially. So yeah.
Okay. What now? Segueing from that,
Mm-hmm.
just to talk about CrossFit and the season, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
What are some of the big storylines you're looking forward to looking at this season?
I'd love to see our young Canadian talent on the ladies' side really excel. Like I'm really excited to watch like Emma Lawson, Annika Greer, Freya, those three girls specifically who have had like amazing performances at other events. Excited to see how they do. I think all three of them will probably qualify for our Canadian semifinal Atlas Games, and through there to the games. I think would be really cool to see. So I'm excited for that. I want Pat to win the game so Pat's got to win the games. Like it's like you and me are in the same boat with that one, man. It's like I just like I thought it was gonna happen last year. I really did. If he obviously didn't have the swim event, it would have happened. So like he's so close, man. And like the swimming looked good at Wadapalooza, and like I don't know. I need him to win one just for me. I don't care about him. I need him to win one. So yeah, I want to see that happen. I'm obviously cheering for that. Those are kind of the two big ones that jump into my mind, and obviously both Canadian, both whatever. But
yeah, do you think Canadians should go to the other North American semifinals as opposed to just being in doing the Atlas one?
Sure. I mean, wherever they think they can qualify. Like I don't know if that is really like I don't know how the selection process works for like picking your semifinal. If it's the same as it was last year, it's like you pick your top three and CrossFit just kind of slots you in based off like a bunch of different factors. So if that's the same, they might not really get much of a choice. But I would also say that like Atlas Games is a pretty easy one, like relatively, like, you know what I mean? Like there's like most of the North American ones are really, really tough. Atlas Games is probably one of the easier ones just based off like, especially on the men's side, like there's really
I would
not.
disagree with you.
You think?
I think the men's is the Atlas is the hardest one to get in. Look at the top men.
Well, no, I mean, sorry, like I was saying, like the men are like locked, like they're
yes.
The top five is like pretty much not budging. But I think still like all of those guys, like I don't know, I think it goes like top five and then pretty easy. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's kind of the same at like a lot of them. So like I don't know, man. I feel like the elite of the elite won't have a problem qualifying. That's I think. And I'm definitely not and never claim to be like extremely knowledgeable of like spots 10 through 40 and like have
Yeah.
the stats. Like I'm not a stats guy. I'm like a
No.
reaction commentary, give my thoughts, whatever. So like I don't know, I could be wrong, but like as far as like the elite of the elite go, I feel like Pat can show up to anyone he wants and qualify. Jeff Adler can show up to anyone he wants and qualify. Sam
Yeah.
Cornier, Alexander Carone, like those guys don't have issues, and that's kind of what I mean by like they could like I don't know, there's not much of a challenge for them at Atlas Games. I'm just talking about them.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. I just think it's a deep field. Like that Atlas Games field is one of the deepest,
Maybe,
especially
yeah.
it was forced to be last year because of
last year was
Canadians
weird for sure.
travel
Yeah.
restrictions.
Like I think this year you'll definitely like I think Brent really wanted to go to an American one last year. So like maybe he does that again. I think that was more so he could be in person, but maybe he does that again. Like there definitely will be some spreading out. But I also like I don't again, if it's the same format as last year, like you don't really get to pick and choose that much. You know what I mean? Like it's like a little bit of a ranking system, but like you kind of just have to play the hand you're dealt. So like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying is like, I think the athletes, the elite athletes who are going to be contending for top 10 spots at the games, like they don't care. They know whatever semifinal they're going to, they're going to qualify. And I think people with those mentalities, the big names we talk about are like, it's not going to matter, you know?
Yeah. 100%. All right, Nate, on that note, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. Where can everybody find you? We got the YouTube channel.
Yep. Yeah, everything's just Nate Edwardson. I mean, I only really do YouTube. Instagram is kind of just like if you really think I'm interesting, you can follow me there because it's just more of my life. But like at the same time, like probably not. I don't try too hard on Instagram. It's pretty much just YouTube. So
awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. Guys, go check out Nate's channel. Tons of content coming out. How often do you post?
basically every day.
All right. Daily content from Nate. Nate Edwardson at YouTube. Check him out. All right, Nate. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time. We'll catch up soon. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit that like button and subscribe down below for more content coming soon from WODProof.